This is going to be a small tour of my 1995 Mercedes-Benz S600 V12. The car has about 122,000 miles and it's only had one owner since new. I'm now the second owner. The car has always been maintained at a Mercedes-Benz dealership and everything is up to date in terms of the maintenance. Now this is the W140 chassis, and this chassis is known to be the most over-engineered Mercedes-Benz ever built, with Mercedes-Benz spending over $1 billion in development for this particular car. This car invented a lot of features such as soft closed doors, double paned glass, parameter steering, rear parking aerials. You can see how thick this glass is. It's a misconception that it's bulletproof. It's actually not, but it is extremely heavy and extremely sturdy piece of glass. This car is an original Georgia car, which is why it doesn't have a license plate mounted onto the front. No holes were drilled and no brackets were made. And I think it just really cleans this car up. You know, especially the 95 model, you know, it had a miniature facelift. It just looks so good because you just have the 3 slots in the bumper and then the slots in the grille, and it's just a very, very clean look, in my opinion. In 1994, this car did receive a light facelift, which included rounding off the edges of the rear taillights and just making the bumpers appear a little bit smaller, along with a few interior upgrades such as a larger armrest and some center console issues such as, you know, finding space for cup holders or for the phone. But my personal favorite out of all of the facelift models is the 1995s, because you can get them with the optional rear parking antennas, which this car does have. And I also do like the white on gray two-tone look. I think it just, you know, gives the car a little bit more of that 90s Mercedes-Benz luxury that sort of went away once they went back to the body colored paint. And some people aren't a fan of the rear turn signals, which are orange, but I am. How can you tell an S600 apart from an S500 other than the V12 badge on the back? Well, the only way that I know personally how to tell them apart is that the V12s will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 slots in the grille, versus a V8 model will only have 3. So I do have AMG monoblocks on this car. They're 18 inches. A little dirty right now. The entire car is a little dirty right now, but so the car did come with its original wheels and tires on it. Not tires, the tires were replaced, but the wheels were original to factory specification. So I added these on just because I thought it, you know, stances the car a little bit more, makes it look a little bit better. Ride quality isn't really compromised at all. It's still just wafts along. I mean, the V12s, they come standard with the ADS, adaptive dampening system suspension, which has self-leveling rear suspension in the rear, and it's got a valve adjusted shocks in the front. So this car just wafts along. I mean, it's so smooth, and the steering runs off of the same pump for the hydraulics in the rear. So the power steering is also incredibly smooth on this one car. Stepping onto the inside of the S600, you're immediately going to notice a few things. The wood grain on the wheel, which is not standard on all models, but most notably, you've got a different stitch pattern for the seats, and they're two-tone. So this car does have two-tone dark gray with light gray leather, and instead of having the stitch pattern where it goes sort of like that from the sides like as on a normal W140, this is the pattern that is on this car. Just look at all the wood over there, and the wood on the wheel. You've got the wood on the shift knob. Also, you have wood that wraps around the B-pillar and then sort of meets you onto the rear door, where you also have wood ashtrays. All this is in beautiful condition. Being a 140, this car does have soft closed doors, and they all work on this car, as well as the trunk. Now, let me take these dice off of here. Another thing that sets the V12s apart from the V8 and V6 models is everything is wrapped and stitched in leather. You've got the dashboard completely wrapped and stitched in leather. It goes all the way down through there, and still met on this side as well. Leather stitching here, over there, top of your door card. More leather here, even leather along the sides over here. And last but not least, more leather on your sun visor. You've got a little pocket that's also stitched. So they're completely leather wrapped. It even goes all the way down into the door cards where no one will ever see it, but they will feel it. Isn't that just incredible? Along with the pleats and the doors, very excellent, nice shape. The leather stitching goes all the way back, even to the rear first aid kit. That is completely wrapped in leather, along with the sides as well. And the last thing that I want to note is that the entire headliner is Alcantara. This is so smooth and nice and soft to the touch. I just love it. It'd be so hard to go back to a normal W140 that doesn't have the Alcantara. And it goes all the way, the A pillars, the B pillars, the C pillars. It's just a really, really nice material, and just one of the small details that sets apart the V12 S600 from an S500 per se. So now let's start up this car. Just pay attention to how smooth and quiet this car is. I'm gonna roll up the window so we get rid of that buzzer. It's just so smooth. The only thing I can hear in this car is the tape working because I have a cassette adapter. So this car has pretty much every single option apart from the 2+2 seating. So you have one touch up and one touch down windows all around. This is the button for the rear sunshade, which works great. Your button to raise and lower the rear headrests. You have your child security lock for your rear windows. Heated seats, these go all around and they do warm up very quick. This is the button for the adaptive dampening system. So you just touch that button and you're gonna get a little bit of a more responsive ride. So it'll just tighten up everything in terms of the suspension and the steering and just make the car a little bit more capable for vigorous roads, let's say. This is the original radio and it works beautifully. And this car has an excellent sound system, especially for its age. I mean, it really gives you a little kick. And of course, here is your rear defrost. You've got your charcoal activated air system. So this is an extra filter that you would use to take away any other pollutants that may be present in the environment around you. And this is the door lock and unlock button, hazard switch, and of course your trunk. So little nice party trick. Normally this is a storage bin and most cars are not equipped with a phone, but here we have a phone. So this car is so original. It still has the original phone built in and it works. You turn it on and you will notice your antenna going up. So just a little piece of interesting history. And it has a little pouch in the trunk, which I'm gonna feature, and I'm gonna film soon for you guys. And that little pouch has the house receiver and adapter for this phone, because this is a cell phone. You can unplug it. It's not a wired unit, and it's got its own antenna, so you can use this phone out and about. And the spare battery is still wrapped in the original plastic, which I just think is really cool. So this is cool. And you'll see your little ringing in there because it's not obviously going to work anymore after all these years, but the phone still functions as planned. So that's just hidden in there, and of course the antenna will tuck away as you turn off the phone. It's a little neat, interesting feature. Now, the rear windows, the rear view mirror is dimming, and this still works. So here's your microphone if you were to talk inside the car, pre-Bluetooth, but still a very interesting feature. Old Mercedes, the seats are electrically operated, so you can go forwards, backwards, up, down. You can extend your seat cushion. So mine's fully extended out because I've got long legs. Your backrest, your headrest, which surprisingly that still works. A lot of them it wouldn't work anymore. And this is all memory powered. So you've also got a power wheel, which can tilt and telescope. So it goes in and out, up and down. And it's got a light, it just allows everyone to be able to drive this car, whether you're small, whether you're large. It's, you know, just really, really practical. Now stepping into the rear seat of the beast. I've got all weather mats, but I do have the original seats. Original mats well for the car. Tons of legroom. I mean, this seat is like for an average person, and I've still got like another 7 to 8 inches of legroom back here. Of course, excuse you, soft close. The pump disengages very quickly and precisely. You can just hear it disengage over there. So the rear seats are also, they have a rear reclining bench, so it'll go back. And when it's reclined, I mean, this car is just so comfortable to sit in. This car is also equipped with the rear climate system. The heat works perfectly on the car. The automatic climate control works beautifully. Air conditioning works beautifully, blows ice cold to the point where I can't even keep it on the lowest setting on a hot summer day because it's just too cold. It's such a beautiful design, and the attention to detail on this car is incredible. Now you do have little mirrors, makeup mirrors, so you can check on yourself while you're in the back seat of the car being chauffeured in your beautiful limousine. Rear armrest with a little storage facility here if you want to keep anything in the back hidden, and also cup holders. Lamp lights, which do still work on Route 4. And so as you can see, like, just look at the leather stitching. It's everywhere. Like, this car is incredible. The attention to detail on it. And the sunshade is nice and stuck to the rear of the window. It's got a little roller, and sometimes what happens is it'll break and then it'll just start dangling down, and it'll be flimsy while you're driving. Another courtesy of the Mercedes W140 chassis is you have an extendable rear handle for when you open your trunk. So you don't get your hands dirty, you touch the button and this handle pops out for your trunk. I've got a few things in here. I've got my cleaning kit for my car and a sheepskin cover for the seats, which I took off for this video. As well, I keep a fire extinguisher back here, but there is a 6 CD changer in the back. And you do have little lights on either side. Of course, this is soft close. And your handle will suck back into the door. Of course, this is the beast that powers this car. 6-liter dual overhead cam V12 with about 389 horsepower and 420 foot-pounds of torque. And let me tell you, this car just feels wrong. When you accelerate, when you gun this car, you would not believe how quick this car feels and how effortless the power is. You're being propelled by this huge V12 engine. Now, I do have 2 of the covers missing, so pardon me for that. We're just doing some work on the car, but it's just such a beautiful power plant, and it's completely covered in plastic, which some may not like, including myself, but you do have to appreciate that during the time period, this car just came out as completely just out of this world, and everything was just so beautifully concealed that you have to appreciate it. You've got your auxiliary fans, small wipers, your headlights, which are only activated when you turn on the windshield wipers nozzle while the headlights are on. Of course, the pad is in beautiful condition. It's an incredible power plant. One thing that I always could appreciate about the W140 is just how large the turn signal was. It's not a little dinky turn signal. You will definitely be seen when you are changing lanes. Along with the front, your low beams and high beams, fog lights, turn signals. Just thought I'd show everyone just so they could see how it looks. Let's just take this car for a little tiny ride down the parking deck. Put the window down so you can hear how smooth this engine is. I'm going to shift into drive. And it's just so smooth, it's ridiculous. I can steer this with one finger if I wanted to. That's how light the steering is. So receptive. nice view of Atlanta over there. I mean, the seating position in this car is really interesting because the car, even though it's a sedan, it just sits so high. I mean, you're almost at the same eye level as some compact cars. So we can show you the interior lighting. Got a burnt out bulb over there. But it's so smooth. I mean, this car just wafts along. You can't even feel any bumps around you. Now, another thing that Mercedes-Benz did address with the facelift of the W140 was the beam for the headlights, because it was sort of frail and weak, so they changed the headlight design after the first few years to make the beam considerably more useful at night. You've got little outlines around your seat controls. This car is just the king of the road. Thank you guys for watching.